Back when it was good, you didn't understand it, and it didn't matter. The numbers kept going up anyhow. The ones who knew, knew, and you were content to go along for the ride. You didn't have to understand. If your numbers didn't go up quite as quickly as their numbers did, that was fine too. You couldn't expect to do as well as people who'd figured out how to repeal gravity. They took risks you wouldn't dream of taking, except that they weren't risks. That was the beauty part, and they were the only ones who had figured it out. It had something to do with houses and mortgages, chopping up mortgages into tiny little pieces and mixing them together with pieces of other mortgages so that the combined pieces were suddenly worth much more than any of the mortgages had been worth to begin with. It was someplace between magic and alchemy, but it worked. The numbers were the proof of that, and the numbers kept going up. You didn't have to understand it. All you had to do was take their advice and rake in the dollars. Then the strangest thing happened. The numbers started going down. Some of the lucky ones saw it coming and bailed out with their billions. The rest sat tight. And why shouldn't they? They'd repealed gravity, after all. They were invulnerable. And you sat tight, too, because you didn't understand it well enough to do anything else. Or you panicked, too late, of course, and got rid of everything at terrible bargain basement prices because you didn't understand it well enough to do anything else. So now you're trying to understand. You're reading sections of the newspaper you've never read before. You're watching business shows on the cable channels. Not to be an expert, but just to grasp some part of what's happening to you and to everyone you care about. What have you learned? You've learned that the ones who knew didn't know. Not really. They didn't know back when it was good, and now that it's not good, now that gravity has reasserted itself, they still don't know. Nobody knows. And that may be the scariest part of all.